My favorite time of the week, Friday, 5 o'clock. You have a monster football weekend ahead of you. Games start tonight, NFL. We will be airing Packers, Eagles in Brazil. You can watch it on Peacock or listen right here on KTIK Sports Radio, The Ticket. Streaming options available too. Okay, Prater, are you nervous or confident, Boise State fan? Double Tap Pub Hotline, call 208-424-9300. It'll be your last chance to call us here on IST this week and share your thoughts on one of the bigger non-conference road opportunities in program history. And I say that and I mean that, and I understand the history. Boise State's done these games a lot over its time, and they've been very, very successful. And confidence, Prater, this fan base has always been confident, at least in my time following this program, which is 20 years or so. They've always been very confident. But against Oregon in a 21, 22 point spread, which is just growing with each show, are they nervous or are they confident? 208-424-9300. Boise State fan, we want to know from you.
Yeah, you have to ask them what the hell they feel. I would imagine they're fairly confident. Because of the history, but, that was a long time ago. Certainly because of last week, that was not too long ago. That defense certainly has some people scared. The pedigree of the University of Oregon certainly has some people nervous as well. I'm also come to the realization, and it is a big week, and I'm not trying to belittle this week or anything else, but at the same time, if Boise State wins this game, it's a statement game and a massive game, and it really puts them on the national map. And that's important. I get that. That's highly, highly important, especially this year with the team they're building and the DNA of Ashton Genty and so on and so forth. But If they lose this game, the CFP is still very much in front of them, if you ask me. It really doesn't bother them that much. Unless somebody like Liberty goes off and wins, is undefeated, and Boise State's on the cusp, and they had that Oregon loss. There's some scenarios where it comes into play, and certainly Boise State could take care of all those scenarios by a win tomorrow night. But if they finish 11-1 and the game was not a non-embarrassing loss to Oregon, I don't think that defines their season at all.
Yeah. Are you nervous? Are you confident? We want your emotions, Bronco Nation. 208-424-9300. Give us a call. JT, appreciate you. You're first up on a Friday. JT, nervous or confident? What are you?
Well, I'm confident because Boise State is in the best position possible. They are not expected to win this game. If I'm coaching the team, I'm going to tell them we're going to pull out some trick plays. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at Oregon. All of the pressure is on Oregon after a poor performance against Idaho, and we've just got to keep it fairly close. Now, what I think we need to look for is, does Boise State have the magic of old to beat these teams? So as a fan, I come into it with nothing to lose. But the players and the staff of the Boise State teams of old believed they would beat these good teams. They came in so confident they would beat the Virginia Tech. They knew they were going to win, and that's how they beat these big teams. So we need the team to be ultimate confidence, throw the kitchen sink at them, throw trick plays at them. But from a fan perspective, I'm not expecting to win. If we keep it within 20, I think we're good to go. We'll be favored the rest of the way. I think there's a difference between the fans' belief and confidence and hopefully the players and the staff. But it's going to be a fun game. And like I said, why not just go for it, let it rip, throw some trick plays out there, and see if we've got some old Boise State magic. Thanks, guys.
That's a great call, JT. 208-424-9300 on the Double Tap Pub hotline. Yeah, he's so right on that. I mean, you could just see it in Chris Peterson's face and whoever the quarterback was, the players as well. When Boise State would go into these games, certainly in other eras, you were way more confident than nervous. I'm more of a nervous guy than a confident guy. That's just who I am. I always get nervous with my teams, Prater. And if I was a Boise State fan, I'd certainly be nervous about Oregon. I'd be nervous about Dylan Gabriel against that defense. I'd be nervous about the front seven just being a Big Ten money paid for front seven versus Boise State. And I don't know, man. This is going to be a tough one. 208-424-9300. Anything on JT's call stick out to you there, Prater?
Do we really think that Boise State needs trick plays to beat Oregon? And do we really think that that's a big part of Dirk Cutter's arsenal? I think there's too much NFL DNA in Dirk Cutter. And that doesn't mean there's not going to be one play or two plays. And if one or two plays makes a difference in their trick plays, that's great. I'm not saying that won't happen, but I don't think Boise State's only chance, and he didn't say only, but Boise State's best chance to beat the Oregon Ducks is certainly what he insinuated, is to go out there and get weird and trick plays. When you got Ashton Genty, I don't think you have to be too weird.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see how the game develops, but I also don't think Dirk Cutter's much of a trick play guy.
That's interesting. You're right. I mean, this we've said it a million times. Boise State and the trick play went hand in hand for like a decade in college football. They were the smart, tricky team, and they haven't been that in the last decade or so. They just went away from whatever that was, the double pass. I mean, remember all those receivers who threw touchdown passes in the Chris Peterson era? He took that to Washington too. I watched those Husky games and they were massively effective with the double pass. Maybe we do see some trickeration. Do you guys think Boise State does need to, what JT kind of said, throw the kitchen sink? Like that type of mindset on this thing. Go there, do whatever you can. If you have to trick them that type of way, then you do it. 208-424-9300. Prater, if you were nervous or if you were confident, like if you're a confident Boise State fan, what about this team, about what you saw last week, about what you've seen with Oregon? What would give you confidence as a Boise State fan right now?
Ashton Genty, this offense, the way the entire offense gels, I thought 11 dudes were on the same page. Let's go 12 if you want to throw in Dirk Cutter and the offensive coaches. I thought it was just a cohesive, beautiful offensive performance from start to finish, and I really liked it. I liked the aggressiveness. I liked it when Maddox Madsen threw that interception. That they came back with a couple of long throws. There's confidence within this team. These 11 dudes and their backups and their coaches are all on the same page. They're all very confident. And right now, I think it's a smooth running machine. I think they can score against Oregon. I really, truly do. I mean, I think they can get, 24 to 34 plus on Oregon and hopefully more. I'm just worried about the defense and Dylan Gabriel and holding that offense, because I think the Ducks could go for 40, 50. I don't even want to say 60.
Yeah, I hope not 60.
No.
If Oregon puts a 60 burger, 60 spot up against this defense,
they're not.
There's going to be a lot of conversation about that on IST. And I don't want to go down those rabbit holes again, man, that we lived in last year. We held up shop in those rabbit holes on defense last year, Prater. And
I think, if I had to predict, and I'm not a big predictor because I'm not good at it, but I could see Oregon like a 42-28 type of football game.
Okay.
I think Boise State, again, take the 21 points. I think that's a ridiculous number. Take the 21 points. If you've never gambled in your life, take the 21 points and gamble for the first time in your life and blame it on me when it doesn't work. But, I think they can hang within 2-3 touchdowns, to a 14-point game at the end, and we'll see how it plays out. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I would love nothing. If Boise State wins, we're going to wake up on Sunday morning and we're going to wake up on Monday morning, and the atmosphere around here is going to change. The smoke is going to go away. It's supposed to be a gross, ugly, smoky weekend, according to the Weather Service. I like to think that if we wake up on Monday morning, we're going to have unicorns and rainbows dancing in our backyard.
It'll be, because I do think that there's this element that this fan base, they want this team to do something that the previous teams did, which is win that big non-con game on the road at the beginning of the year or at a neutral site, right? They want these guys to be able to live through that. I mean, we still reference all those games every week on IST, whether it's Virginia Tech or Georgia or Oregon before. I mean, everybody, they remember those games. They go back, they rewatch those games. Those games get put in a time capsule. We have the stars of those games come on our radio show 15, 16 years later, like we did yesterday in the form of Vinny Peretta, right? This town wants this team to have those moments too. And I don't know who the players are going to be. And Prater, you made a good point. If it's 42-28, I think for the most part, Boise State fan, they're not going to be happy, but they're not going to be embarrassed, right? Don't get embarrassed in Eugene. And I don't think they will either. I love the plus 22. I just that puts so much pressure on Oregon to score over 45 or 50 points if they expect to beat Boise State by over 3 touchdowns. That's a blowout, Prater. That's a total blowout, and we haven't seen a lot of that from Boise State. Good stuff, guys. 208-424-9300 on our Cloverdale Plumbing text line. Part 2 with Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback and Prater's favorite ever BYU Cougar, Steve Young, is next on Idaho Sports Talk. Don't miss it. Prater on the ball game.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.